There's bubbles in my water. Alright guys, gonna get straight into the video. What are the positives of a dirty bulk? Now, you can eat what you want. Realistically, no matter what snack or meal that you've intended to go as when you're having a dirty bulk, so it literally could be, I don't know, you could go for takeaway, you could go for just a ridiculous portion of carbonara pasta. There's a million and one things you can have, but the chances are you can eat what you want because it's going to taste good. You can cram the calories in. You haven't got to track what you're eating as well so much. You literally just need to eat a lot. You haven't got to worry about getting the calories in because these dirty bulk food items tend to be calorie dense. Hitting the calories isn't the hard part, right? We're going to get into the hard part in a second on the cons. Another benefit, so we're already 3 in, we're a minute into the video, that's awesome. They taste good, right? The food you're going to be eating on a dirty bulk is likely going to taste better. Even when you're on a clean bulk and you season all your food well, there's a lot of fat content in there because you put a lot of butter or coconut fat in. The chances are that ultra-processed, refined, full of additives and flavouring food will taste better. It's unfortunate, but it's the case, right? Same here. I've got a bowl of nuts next to me. I've been eating this for breakfast. It's taken me a little while to get through it. Right. M&Ms taste better than nuts. Arguably, you can't really beat a Brazil nut. They taste awesome, but as a general rule, dirty bulk foods taste better and you can eat more of them. Right. The last positive that I've got for the dirty bulk written down here. Just show you this is my script for this video. Very easy. You'll gain weight. Right, it's undisputable. Once you're eating all that, all those calories and just high calorific density food items day in, day out, you're going to be gaining weight at a pretty exponential rate, especially in comparison to if you're clean bulking. Even if the calories are the same, I think because of the nature of the foods, high carb, high seed oils, all that shit is going to make you pile on those those pounds, right? You'll be piling weight on. That's a pro, depending on what you're looking to get out of it, and I'm going to discuss that further, but that is a pro. You'll be gaining weight pretty exponentially on a dirty bulk, right? So that is, you're going to get the intended result, but there are drawbacks, which I'm now going to discuss. Okay, so what are the cons? First things first, just from personal experience and also from the experience of observing others, I've seen other people take dirty bulks very seriously and do them for a few months, and you'll feel ill and you're going to feel less healthy. I've never been on a dirty bulk. I've eaten, not healthy foods before. Like I've obviously had, like pizzas and I'm trying to think of something that's not inherently healthy. Just like biscuits and stuff. Like I've eaten shit food before. I'm sure everyone has. And you don't feel as good, right? I haven't done it over a long period of time, but I've seen my friends who are, very into the gym when they want to put weight on. They eat whatever they want all the time and they put weight on. It works, but then they get run down, they get poorly, their performance isn't as good, they just don't feel healthy. They're putting weight on, which is what they want, and then they can obviously cut that down and they're left with the muscle and stuff. Not that it doesn't work, just you aren't going to feel healthy, right? Again, when discussing performance, written down here, your performance may worsen. So this could be gym weight performance, or what I've written down here is i.e. cardio. General rule, if you're eating loads of refined sugar and seed oils, all that sort of nasty stuff, your cardio is going to worsen, and that's a pretty important factor when considering health. Your cardio is vital, right? Your heart keeps you going. Once your heart stops, that's it. If your bicep doesn't work, your bicep doesn't work. But if your heart doesn't work, nothing works. So you want to consider that. Consider the health of your heart as opposed to just putting on weight faster, right? Something to consider. Now, again, when we're mentioning these types of calorie-dense, bulking foods, the likelihood is they contain, in fact, a level of seed oils, toxins, nasty chemicals, and endocrine disruption. I'm not going to get into this too deep. I'm not going to start like, there's a potassium sorbate and, maltodextrin and all this and that. Like, there's loads and loads and loads of chemicals they add into food for either preservatives' sake or just a flavour enhancing, thickeners, all sorts of random stuff. It's less bad in places in Europe and stuff than it is in America. Like they have thousands of food additives over there that they don't allow in other countries, which to me is baffling, but okay, it's a separate conversation again. So just bear in mind that these refined foods are going to have an effect on your hormones that may not be optimal. They're going to affect your health in general. Of course, seed oils are going to cause issues with your heart and your body. You know, it's going to affect your mental health as well. When you're not eating as clean, you're going to get brain fog. You're just not going to be as switched on. You're not going to feel as good, all right? And of course, messing your hormone system up is not ideal. Health risks, as discussed there, I think I've already kind of covered that one, but I've written the point down, of course. There is an element of risk with your health when you're eating a lot of shit foods. It's just no question about it. And you'll probably look and feel like shit. is what I've written down. So you may look tired. You may, it may impact your sleep eating this way. It may do a lot of negative things which impact your physical and I want to say mental health, but just it's not mental health. It's just like how you actually feel. I don't know if that ties in with mental health so much because that's more like mood and stuff. It's not necessarily your mood that will be bad. It will just be you feel sluggish. You feel tired. It's not where you want to be feeling. Now I'm going to discuss the positives and cons of the clean bulk. So there's not many pros to this, to be honest. It's what I've opted for, but there's not many pros to it. So, although the pros I feel outweigh the cons. Now, gradual healthy weight gain. Pretty straightforward. Imagine this. You're eating to gain weight, yeah? But all you're eating is whole food sources, full of nutrients, full of vitamins, minerals, and, literally just natural, one ingredient, unprocessed foods. You're eating the same amount of calories as someone who's dirty bulking, but they're eating whatever foods they want. So they can eat burgers and chips and freezer food and biscuits and chocolate and cake and pastries and whatever the hell they want, right? So let's say you're both eating 3,500 calories a day, but one person's getting their food entirely from whole food, animal sources and all that jazz, and the other person's getting them from massive corporations. Same amount of calories, however, you'll probably gain weight more gradually and at a slightly slower rate than the person who's eating what they want. However, that will be healthy weight gain and you're going to feel phenomenal, right? Because you're giving your body a surplus of real foods. You're not giving it a surplus of just empty calories that are no good for you. You're taking in a large amount of real food. That's the main takeaway from this. And I've also written down the mood, health, and performance will all improve. I'm speaking strictly from experience here. When I've eaten slightly worse foods, I don't feel as good, I don't perform as well. It's just how it is. But when I've been eating clean and I've been bulking on a very strict whole food diet, I feel phenomenal. My skin still isn't good, but honestly, I'm putting that down to sleep. The last few days I haven't slept amazing. I'm not putting that down to diet at all. I'm simply putting that down to the fact it's warm. I don't sleep well when it's hot. And last night, again, was ridiculous. I was up at like 3, baking in the heat. But anyway, back to this. So, what are the cons of a clean bulk? Now, these become apparent as you're doing it. So it's likely more expensive, right? Again, this one kind of depends how you do it because, as a general rule, I'm going to say it's more expensive, right? It's more expensive to, a packet of fruit, which has less calories than a packet of chocolate, costs more. So you get less calories of a whole food than you do of a refined processed food. And it costs more. So that's something to bear in mind, that all the healthy foods tend to cost more. Tracking is pretty paramount, in my opinion, because it's more difficult to get your calories from real food all the time than it is to get them from food that's easy to eat, okay? So this one, I've put it in cons, but I also, when I wrote it down, I realised it's also a pro. So it requires discipline. Not eating the shit foods when you want to requires a level of mental discipline, right? And that's a negative in the sense of, it's using up your discipline levels through the day, but it's also a positive because you're going to level that skill up. Discipline's a skill, right? You've got someone who's very lacking discipline. It's because they haven't been practicing that skill. People who have more discipline, they build that up over time. It's just the same as going to the gym. So that's a pro and a con, the fact it requires discipline. I've got it down as a pro as well. It needs planning. Clean bulking requires more planning than dirty bulking because you've got to assess where your calories are coming from and how you can hit those numbers with the foods you're choosing to. Also written down here, it may take longer because you're not piling in, foods that are going to impact your health so much. Putting on the weight will happen, but it just may be slower, but it's a healthier weight gain. So again, a pro and a con there. It may take longer, so the desired result will be offset, but it's delaying that gratification. It's when you get there and you've done it clean, you're going to look and feel phenomenal. There's no trade-off for that, in my opinion. I think if you clean bulk for a year and you dirty bulk for a year, you'd feel the difference. And genuinely, at the end of the year, you may not have put on as much fat, you may not have put on as much mass. However, you're going to be performing better, you're going to probably look better, you'll feel better, you'll have still put weight on, still put muscle on. That's the be-all end-all, guys. Do with that information as you will. For me personally, when I considered how I wanted to put weight on this year, because I'm bulking at the moment, but at the same time as bulking, because I'm doing it clean, and I've done it very clean, despite the fact I'm bulking, I'm still shredded. There is that, I'm not putting on a lot of fat, but I am putting on muscle mass, and I am putting on fat, I have put on, you can't really, literally, that's what I'm saying when I'm putting on fat, that's what we're talking about, it's not a lot, but I don't think that's a bad thing. My cardio has never been better, and I've done a lot of cycling as a kid. I did loads of long distance cycling, and genuinely I've never been faster, right? Just now that I'm eating this way. So from personal experience and from seeing other people bulk in different ways, I know that this is what suits me. Again, I do think that weighing it up is important, and you've got to look at your own goals, right? I'm purely bulking and exercising and all that jazz for health reasons. I want to look good, and I want to feel good, and I want to perform well. I don't massively care about being wham. I want to be jacked. I want to be, strong and look good and all that. But I'm not a bodybuilder, okay? If you're a bodybuilder, chances are that's all you give a fuck about. You don't really care how well you can, run a mile and a half. You don't really care how high you can box jump or, how many pull-ups you can do. You care about looking big. That's your goal. And so different goals require different approaches. Do with the information as you will. Just consider your health and consider what works for you. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.